So hi, still here, still in this chair, still in my pajamas. It's still the same night, but you're probably not watching this on the same night because I'm probably going to upload them over time. I don't know why I told you all that. So today we review Bruce Coville's Eyes of the Tarot, the third book in his Chamber of Horrors series. But before I get to the review itself, I'm going to tell the uninitiated about the tarot. This is the tarot, the deck of cards. The tarot is a deck of 78 cards, which are primarily used for fortune telling. The deck is separated into two parts. The first part is made up of 56 cards, which are basically like a deck of playing cards, except that the suits are slightly different and they add an extra face card in there. And the second part is made up of 22 numbered cards, which have other things on them, like the Fool, or the Devil, or the Lightning Struck Tower. Now each of these cards has a unique picture on it, like this, and the pictures each have significant meanings assigned to them. And it is these meanings that people who can read the tarot use to tell fortunes. But tarot reading is incredibly complicated because the individual meaning of each of the cards can change depending on where it's placed in whatever fortune reading you happen to be doing, and also whether or not the card is upside down. So this card, this one card, could have 10 different meanings depending on the circumstances of the fortune telling. So it takes those who read the tarot deck a long time to really figure out how to do it adequately. So Eyes of the Tarot follows the story of Bonnie McBurney, a young high school girl with a dark past. That was odd the way I said that. Bonnie is visiting her grandmother one day when she comes across an old deck of tarot cards. She's immediately entranced by the beautiful artwork on the cards, particularly how realistic the characters look. And against her grandmother's wishes, she takes the cards home with her and begins to learn how to read them. And Bonnie finds that she is able to pick up on the meanings of these cards remarkably fast. And when I say remarkably fast, I mean within a day. She knows each and every probable meaning for each and every card. She can give readings flawlessly. And she later finds that this has a lot to do with her and her past, but also a lot to do with these cards, which have quite a history and are certainly no ordinary cards. So, much like Bonnie, I am kind of interested in the tarot, but not necessarily from a fortune reading standpoint. I'm more interested in the characters in the tarot deck. Like I said, each of these cards has a unique picture, and each of these pictures tells a story. And Bruce Coville utilizes these characters and these stories in his writing. And one nice thing about this book is that you don't have to have a full understanding of the tarot in order to get the story. In fact, you really don't have to have any understanding of the tarot because it's kind of explained to you the way that I explained it to you. Like, I think when I first read this book, I didn't even know what a tarot was. I found out by reading this book. I also kind of like the protagonist in this one. Unlike Spirits and Spells, we only have one protagonist to focus on, and she has a fair amount of backstory and a fair amount of character growth to go through. And there is quite a lot of backstory in this book. We've got Bonnie's backstory, we've got the McBurney family backstory, and we've got the backstory of the tarot deck. And as with any book that has a whole bunch of backstories, it's kind of fun to see how they are woven together. This means woven together. Now, like Spirits and Spells, it's by no means a perfect novel. There is a romance in this novel. Bonnie has a boyfriend, and the romance gets pretty cheesy at times, but then it is a high school romance. And to be honest, on this reread, I found the boyfriend kind of annoying. But despite its faults, I still liked rereading this book. Just like with Spirits and Spells, I still found myself really getting into the story. And also, just like with Spirits and Spells, I wouldn't necessarily call it good, but it is entertaining, and it was at least entertaining enough for me to keep it on the favorites list. If you haven't come across Bruce Coville's Chamber of Horrors books, all 4 of them, then see if you can find them and give them a read. They're actually pretty good for all that they're young adult horror stories. They're nice to read when you need something relatively relaxing that's not going to make you think too hard. They're just nice, relaxing, entertaining reads. And they won't rot your mind like some books by Stephenie Meyer will. So that concludes this review, and the next book on the favorites list is How to Eat Fried Worms by... Who wrote that book? Thomas Rockwell? Is that...
Yes.
Thomas Rockwell.
That sounds right.
Thomas Rockwell. I obviously don't have a copy of the book handy at the moment, but eventually I will. See you next time. The tarot is a deck of 78, 56 plus 22, yes.
I like how you looked at me when you asked that as if I would know.
I was just looking in that direction. I know you don't know.